Hi everyone, this is your Champlain College ambassadors, Chloe D, Celia, and Chloe R, and this is Chamily Drama, broadcasting through the facilities of CFF Trent Radio at 92.7 FM in Peterborough, Nogojawanong, Canada. Before we start, we would like to respectfully acknowledge that we are occupying land in Peterborough, Nogojawanong on the Treaty 20 territory and traditional territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe. This land is associated with the Williams Treaty. We offer our gratitude to the First Nations for their care for and teachings about our earth and our relations. May we honor those teachings.
Hey folks, welcome back to Chamily Drama. Thanks so much for tuning in. Before our segment with Ryan, we are going to go over a few announcements.
Yeah, so first thing we wanted to say is that the Champlain and Trent alumni, Chancellor Stephen Stone, has been named to the Order of Canada. Dr. Stephen Stone came to Trent in 1966 and has been named a member of the prestigious Order of Canada in recognition for his longtime contributions to the Canadian entertainment industry, notably as a television producer, lawyer, mentor, and advocate for artists. So if you weren't sure or didn't know, Stephen Stone is Trent's Chancellor. He's also a Champlain alumni. He started Trent Radio, as well as he was the producer for the Canadian television series that was filmed in Toronto, Degrassi. So yeah, we're very excited that he is receiving this recognition because obviously we think that he's done a lot of really great things for Canada and the entertainment industry, so we're very happy and proud to have him celebrated in that way.
Awesome. Autonomy College is also having a self-care night on August 3rd. It's from 5 to 7, and it's in the OC Commons. They will be painting.
Yeah, they're going to have some snacks. So yeah, go out and have a fun little snack paint night and do some self-care. The TCSA is going to be hosting treetop trekking, which is super excited. So they're going to charter a bus to treetop trekking in Ganaraska on Tuesday, August 15th. They're going to do some zip lining, aerial adventures, and being outside. There's some suspended bridges, Tarzan swings, swinging logs, and really interesting stuff like that. If you're not afraid of heights, it's very fun. If you're afraid of heights, it's still very fun, but a little terrifying. I loved it, even though I am afraid of heights. It does take a bit to get over, but it's a really rewarding experience for sure. The tickets are $15 per student. That includes your bus transportation, your ticket, your helmet, and your harness. So you just register on the TCSA's website, and then you'll be able to go.
And our last announcement is Trent International. They're doing their World Fest performer call out. You can find the link to sign up on their Instagram. Make sure that you sign up before August 7th. Any tricks are welcome. You can do singing, dancing, or magic tricks, and they really hope that you'll come out.
Yeah, World Fest is something that happens in the first week of classes, I believe on the Thursday, and it's going to be entertainment with a bunch of different artists from different cultures showing their art. It's also going to be held in conjunction with the college's Flavor Food Festival. So you can come, you can get some food from the different vendors in the downtown Peterborough area, and then also listen to some cool music, see some great performances, and maybe even put on a performance yourself. So yeah, that's going to be happening the first week of September. There will be more information about World Fest and Flavors on our Instagram, as well as Trent International's Instagram, but we definitely hope that you come out to that. Now we're going to have an interview with Ryan Palaro. He's the Trent Orientation and Transitions Coordinator, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about his role and about orientation at Trent University. All right, hi Ryan. Thank you so much for being here with us. Would you like to give a little bit of an introduction of yourself?
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me, and thank you for everyone who's listening as well. So I'm Ryan. I'm the Orientation and Transitions Coordinator. I recently graduated Trent not that long ago, so a couple of years now, and I did my biology and chemistry. And during my time at Trent, I got to partake in a lot of activities. So I got to work a student job on campus as a student ambassador, I gave tours, and I also did the orientation job as well. So back in the day, I was an orientation facilitator, which I'll get into a little bit later, and an orientation leader as well. So Love Trent, lots of experience, and super excited to be in this role as well.
Awesome, cool. And what is your role like with the orientation coordinator and transitions?
Yeah, great question too. So with orientation and transitions role, this role is made to look at students who are coming into Trent and how we can help with their transition. We know that transition is a big time for students, especially come fall. We have a lot of parents and supporters who we know it's a nervous time for them and students as well. So we're trying to make that process easier. But it also goes throughout the year. So we're doing programming throughout the year, and we look at winter intake as well, and summer, and just really working with those students who are coming in to Trent and starting off for the first time.
Awesome.
And why did you want to become an orientation coordinator?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I find myself asking that to myself every day. I'm still thinking about that. And one of the main reasons I wanted to become an orientation coordinator is just really working with the students. So I find this is common along many Trent staff, but I had such a great experience at Trent and working with Trent University as a whole. And I know how nervous I was coming to university. I didn't want to leave home. I'm an only kid, and I'll be honest that when my parents left, I was really upset and nervous and didn't think I could really do it. And I think a lot of students relate to that as well.
Definitely.
So working with that, I had such a great experience and so much help along the way for my 4 years at Trent as a student. And I really like working with students and working with a team of students to help make it a little bit easier. And we know that process of coming to university is going to be challenging no matter what. But we want to make it better and more exciting for students, and realizing that there is nerves with it, but also realizing that it's an exciting time for not only students but parents and supporters as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's great. And as a Trent alumni, what was your experience with orientation week as a student?
Yeah, I think this is a great question too. And I'm going to be honest. My first year at Trent University, I actually didn't partake in orientation.
Okay.
I did a little bit. I did a couple events here and there, but really not to the full extent. We usually have, for those who don't know, over like 150 events, so I definitely didn't do all of them. And the reason for that is I came with a lot of friends from high school, and I'll let you two know that it was my biggest mistake and regret during university is not partaking in orientation. And now that I'm kind of in this role, I see how it affected me over my years too.
True.
So in my second year, I said I really want to become involved with orientation. It's not something that I've seen before, and I've heard so many amazing things with it, so I became a leader. And I did that for 2 years and had such an amazing experience and met so many great, not only students coming in, but students on campus who were already second, third, fourth, and upper year. That really made a connection for me, and I realized all the students coming in were just as nervous as I was. And again, it made me regret not taking part in orientation. And then in my final year, I was a facilitator, so that position is kind of like a hired leader for the summer that work with orientation, and we have 10 of those on staff as well. And that was really amazing too. So that's when I really realized the whole main goal of orientation is not just to orientate students coming to Trent, but there's a lot of main goals that we're working on, such as getting students more socialized and meeting their peers and supporting them for academic success throughout that week. And how, if I went to my orientation my first year, I would have been set up a lot more and began my processes a lot more sooner. That I missed out on that. And then now in this year, planning it, I really get the behind the scenes look at it, seeing kind of how these events developed over time and working with those, and how we can touch on those goals. And I know one thing we're worried about with orientation and incoming students is that we know those first 6 weeks are challenging first 6 weeks, and that's when we see the most risk for students. So we're working really hard on that to help with that transition and really keep students safe, but also let them interact with each other and meet friends and set them up for success over their time here.
Definitely, yeah.
Hi folks, this is your Champlain College ambassadors, Chloe D, Celia, and Chloe R, and you're currently listening to Chamily Drama, broadcasting through the facilities of CFFF Trent Radio at 92.7 FM in Peterborough, Nogojawanong, Canada.
Have you implemented any changes since taking over this role?
Yeah, we got to do a lot of changes this year, and I think it helped with myself being a leader and on staff as well. So a couple things we thought of with orientation. The first thing I did was look at other institutions. So we looked at other universities and post-secondary schools across Ontario and Canada and seen how they kind of ran their orientations.
Oh, yeah.
And with that, we made our changes. So a lot of schools either have an orientation day or they have an orientation 2 weeks with around 20 events, and we were looking at 180 events when I stepped into this role. So there's a lot of different events, and that's because orientation is a lot different, especially with our collegiate system. We have a lot of departments who actually run their own orientation events and partake in orientation. So we looked at what events are really important to students and how can we not overwhelm students with the orientation events as well. And one of the changes we made is starting with the theme. So every year we kind of have a theme for orientation, and it usually related to some pop culture reference or something like that. So we changed it more to a general theme that can be used throughout your time here at Trent, and something to relate over your years here that you can fall back on as well. So this year's theme is Trent Out Loud. The other thing we changed with that is uniforms. So often we make shirts and stuff for orientation to help identify us, and now we've kind of done a more streamlined approach to we're all kind of having the same outfit, which is really nice when you kind of come into move-in day or something like that. We want you to be recognizing us pretty easily. And then this year, which really is exciting, is we started to categorize the days. So we took this orientation where we had 180 events and started placing the events into specific days. So Monday is Colleges Day, and that relates to our collegiate theme at Trent, where colleges are kind of at the forefront of that day, and you'll get your college welcome, and you'll be introduced to a smaller section of students before you get the whole Trent experience as well. Tuesday is Services Day, so we have a services fair we're running that's new to this year, where we're going to introduce students to all the services on campus so they can have those and know what's available to them. Wednesday is Academics Day, so we're having a lot of academic orientations that programs are running. So if you're part of a program that's running an orientation, you can kind of meet students in that program before you start class. And then Thursday and Friday are a bit different too. So we know classes are starting on those Thursdays and Fridays, with Friday being like a celebration of students, and Thursdays getting to know your campus. So we're running a new tours event where you can come for a tour on Thursday, kind of find your classes, because we know that's the big concern on Thursday, finding your different lectures and where you're going that day as well. And then Friday, we're doing a kind of wrapping up orientation and kind of sending you off for your first couple of weeks at Trent.
Oh, that's cool. I really like the new organization and framework. I think that'll be really interesting and a little less confusing and overwhelming for sure.
Yeah, and one thing we found too is orientation can be very impactful, but it can also be very busy. And we know that as well, so we're looking at kind of changing those Thursdays and Fridays. So when you're starting class, you don't have to worry about missing orientation events, and you can really start to focus on, I'm ready for class, this is my first 2 days, and I feel confident attending these lectures.
Oh, that's awesome. And what can students expect to see and learn at Orientation Week events?
Yeah, so the cool thing with orientation and what students can expect to see is we really took a look at our learning goals. So we had learning goals approved by student bodies and professional staff from years ago, and there's kind of 8 learning outcomes we're looking at. And that's where all the events kind of fall into place. So these 8 learning outcomes have a lot to do with getting to know your campus, knowing what a college is, setting you up academically, socially, as well as knowing your services and feeling prepared and safe on campus. So everything we plan is kind of falling into those learning outcomes that were thought of by students. So our main goal is, first off, that you feel confident after orientation, that you may not know everything about your classes or your program, but you feel confident that this is going to be a welcoming place for your next years at Trent, and you feel confident going to your lectures and meeting students and stuff like that as well. We also want to make sure students are safe, so we're really working on that with programming as well, and we're kind of doing some bigger programming, and we know it can be really exciting, but a lot of that has to do with keeping those student bodies safe as well. And then lastly, just kind of working on introducing you to Trent as a whole. So when I say that, one thing that's amazing at Trent, I'm sure you two talk a lot about it on these as well, is that you connect with professional staff and students, and I always say you can't really get across the bridge here at Trent without running into someone you know. You feel like a mini celebrity, and we want to help with that. We want that when a student sees a college principal or support staff, that they wave and say hello, and they say, hey, I know Tina from Champlain, or I know Ryan, he's the orientation and transitions coordinator as well. So that's really what we're working with, and excited to see that through.
Yeah, that's really nice. I really like how that like brings it all close to home and makes it feel really homey and small, which is what Trent is all about, being a smaller university.
So true.
Yeah.
Why should students participate in orientation week?
Yeah, so don't do what I did, and definitely partake in orientation week. I think it just sets you up for success as a whole. So we just ran summer programming, Bring It On, and summer orientation, and we did a kind of feedback on that from students and got their input, and there was so much overwhelming messaging of thank you for doing this programming. I got to meet friends. I really didn't think I was going to meet anyone with orientation. Yeah, it was a really nice feeling. And we found that everyone at least met one person or two people or a group of people feeling confident about coming to university. So I think if you want to meet people and feel like you're part of the community, orientation is your first step to that. And orientation is also a starting point to if you want to work in the college office, or if you want to be a tour guide, or if you want to get involved with your program. It's kind of all implemented into orientation. So I think definitely taking part in orientation will help you throughout your years at Trent as well.
For sure. And is there any ways that incoming students can prepare for orientation week? Is there anything they can do beforehand to get ready?
Yeah, we get that a lot, and I think the number one thing I'm going to say, especially in this role now, is, and I know I was a student, I still am a student, so I'm really bad at this too, but checking your emails, you're going to hear that a lot from a lot of different departments and things, and I totally understand reading a long email can be kind of hard too, but just making sure you have some of the information coming into university. So you can check our website, current students, and use like our orientation page there. You can see all the events and things we're running like that, and we're actually posting our whole schedule on our website as well, so you can take a look at that.
Beautiful.
So if you look at those events and let's say there's a sponge battle and you know you're going to get wet, maybe bring some supplies like that too, like your bathing suit and things like that to university is a big one. But I think other ways you can get ready and involved is just coming to university, being prepared to partake in something and trying something new. I think that was the biggest thing for me, is I really was kind of nervous and I didn't want to try anything my first year, and it really impacted me through that first year. So what I would say to all students is just be willing to even try one event and see how you like it and go from there as well too.
Yeah, having an open mind goes a long way.
Yeah,
for sure.
totally.
How can incoming students stay informed about OEIC events and important updates?
Yeah, great question. So again, definitely checking our schedule on our website. That one's going to be updated soon. So we're thinking in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and you can see all the events on there. Another big one for us is our Instagram account. So that's Trent_orientation. You can follow that. That's probably the best way to get news that comes out pretty fast. And all our facilitators. So again, going back to that 10 staff team. So those are current students, all part of a different college as well. They're always on there posting things and updating, and we're always reading questions and things like that. We also have an email, orientation@trentu.ca. That's a really good one if you have any questions you want to send our way that we can look at as well.
Awesome. And then just one last question. It's a tough one. As an OE coordinator, what is the most rewarding part of your role?
Yeah, I think when you set up orientation and running events for Trent and incoming students, it's with event planning where you're always there's a lot of work that goes into it. So planning different departments and kind of getting everyone involved at Trent and communicating to everyone to kind of be at these events and run them smoothly. But I think the most rewarding part is after the events take place and you see, I get to meet all the students and student staff and professors and things like that. And just to see a student say, hey, I know I can do Trent now, and I know it's going to be an okay place, or hey, I made a friend and I'm not as scared now. I think getting students to be less nervous like I was, and if I can avoid that for one student, I think that's kind of the most rewarding part.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's very similar in our role as college ambassadors, where like just being able to see the impact that you've made on even one student is so rewarding that like you're like, well, I guess I got to keep doing this then.
It's so true. And even when I was a leader, you never know the impact you're doing, but they announced this job that was in the role, and I had a couple of messages being like, you were my OEIC leader, and you really made it easier. And I think that's true for whatever you do on campus, any job. I think that makes it kind of worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so sweet. Okay, well, that was really awesome. Thank you so much for doing this interview. And yeah, we're super excited for Orientation Week and to see what's going to come this year.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to see everyone at orientation as well.
Yeah, awesome.
That was super great. Thank you to Ryan for coming on. And thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode.
We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thanks for listening. This has been your Champlain College ambassadors, Chloe D., Celia, and Chloe R., and we've brought you Chamily Drama, broadcasting through the facilities of CFFF Trent Radio at 92.7 FM in Peterborough, Nogojawanong, Canada.